Hi everyone! How are you guys doing? My name is Scott, and I want to tell you about my girlfriend Trisha. The fact is that she became very rich and hired me to work as her assistant. You're going to think this is cool, right? But actually, everything was not as rosy as I would like, and this is exactly what we will talk about today. Trisha and I had started dating a year ago, and we were both from very poor families, meaning we weren't starving, but we couldn't afford to be extravagant either. In our spare time, we were looking for a part-time job together, and then we spend the money to relax or buy something. Trisha has always dreamed of a life of luxury, and I promised that we would be together and succeed together because it couldn't be otherwise. I may be conservative, but I believed that we would achieve everything together. And one day, Trisha called me so happy, she was screaming with happiness. It turned out that her distant grandmother had died. Yes, right now it sounded strange, but that's not the point. This grandmother was lonely and very rich and left her entire fortune for Trisha and her family. Trisha became a millionaire. I was so genuinely happy for her. Really, I am. At first, it was funny. We went where we wanted, bought, ate, walked, drove, but she paid for everything, and it made me uneasy. I couldn't let it go on like that because I'm a man and I couldn't always pay for my girlfriend's new appetite. Well, I began to look for an excuse to avoid meetings. Of course, Trisha noticed. What's the exam again? It was last week. Sorry, baby, I have to get ready. Scott, I can see it's just an excuse. Don't you want to see me? Say so. I want to, Trisha. I want to, but you're so different. And every time you're paying for me, I feel uncomfortable. So I want to earn my own money and pay for myself, you know? But I don't have such a high-paying job right now. So that's the whole point? Yes, that's the point. Then I'm offering you a job. Will you be my assistant? You're going to pay me for dates, and I'm going to use that money to take you on these dates? I laughed at first, but then I decided to try it. We met, and I followed Trisha everywhere she went. I drove her car, ran to buy her coffee, went to the dry cleaning shop, waited for her at the beauty salon, even sat at the next table while she chatted with her friends. Trisha paid me good money, and then I used that money to buy her gifts and pay for her in restaurants and shops. This went on for about a month, and then she stopped communicating with old friends. She had new acquaintances amongst the rich. Trisha once told me to go with her to Dan's birthday party. Who's Dan? Don't you know him? He and his parents came to our house for dinner recently. He is the son of my dad's business partner, which he recently started. I want you to meet him. I had no choice, so we went there. As soon as I parked Trisha's car, I knew it smelled like money everywhere. Oh, Trisha, you're here. Good to see you. Dan looked at me and said, "Park the car over there. Servants are hanging out on the ground floor. Go get something to eat." I almost hit him for saying that, but then Trisha broke into the conversation. "Oh, this is my boyfriend Scott." "Wow, is this the new trend? Dating the servants?" "Why the servants?" "I've seen him a lot. Is he your driver?" "He's my boyfriend and part-time assistant." "And you're cheeky." I was already in a bad mood. Dan led us into the house without saying hello to me. I sat in the corner behind the bar and watched Trisha talk to everyone, get to know them. She was different, not my Trisha at all. She didn't even talk to me for over an hour, so I gave her the keys and went outside. Trisha ran out after me. "What's wrong with you?" "What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? Walking around flirting like I'm not there. Are you shy of me?" "You're the one who's shy of me." "Well, no. You hired me to work, and now I'm running after you like a dog. I definitely won't stand for this. Look for your equals, since a bum like me is not your equal." "Well, go away. Do you hear?" I went home and we didn't talk after that. I've heard rumors that Trisha has started dating this Dan guy. Their fathers ran a tight business, and I was left alone and with a nose. It was unpleasant and painful for me to leave her because I did love my girlfriend, but this could not continue. I got on with my life, and a year later, I met a girl. I met her at work in a store. We were well connected, and everything went to the point where we started dating. One day, Nancy, that was her name, and I went to the movies, and there, unexpectedly, I met Trisha and Dan. "What kind of people do you work for now?" "Dan, leave him alone." "Scott, who is this?" "Oh, wait, I recognize you. You're the guy who Botoxed his own ass. My sister was working at the clinic that day and I saw you there, just bringing in the implants. How's your ass?" Dan was very confused and even blushed. I laughed and Trisha just took him away. After the movie, Nancy asked me how long we'd been dating. I made a surprised face and she said to me, "It's all right, Scott. It looks like you still have feelings for her. If you still love her, it's worth fighting for. It's not late. Well, you understand me." Nancy was right. After all, my feelings for Trisha were still there. When we got outside, I saw Dan and Trisha fighting hard. At one point, he hit her right in the face and she fell to the ground. I couldn't stand it, so I ran over and hit him with all my strength. He jumped on me and gave me a good thrashing. Trisha intervened, put Dan in the car, and it seemed he was a little drunk. Did he drink in the movie theatre? Yes, he drinks a lot, as it turns out. Trish, it's none of my business, but you deserve better. Oh, really? It's you that broke up with me. I know. I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry. Yeah, Scott, I'm sorry too. They left and I stayed with Nancy, walked her home, and she told me that she was ready to be just friends with me, which I was very happy about. That night, someone rang my doorbell. I opened it and saw Trisha. She was in tears and there was blood on her face. I asked her what had happened and she said it was Dan. "Our fathers had a fight and Dan found out about it and he took it out on me." Trisha didn't say another word and I hugged her and she was shaking all over. I let her in, she took a shower, and then I made her some tea. After a while, Trisha calmed down. We talked about what was going on in her life and mine, and then she fell asleep on the couch in the living room. It's a good thing my parents weren't there, or they'd freak out. The next day, Dan came to me. He saw Trisha and got angry, only this time I didn't let him beat me. I hit him so hard that he fell, and then he walked away saying, "You're going to regret this, Trisha." This bastard kept his promise. His father refused to cooperate with Trisha's father. Their business stopped, and the company suffered losses. I apologized for a long time, saying it was my fault, but Trisha told me something. According to her, most of the time she dated Dan out of a sense of loneliness, and he manipulated her father and his business. He often said that without his family he would have been bankrupt long ago. Dad got nervous because of Dan's dad. He's been beating me for a long time. I put up with it and didn't tell anyone. All for Dad. Yesterday I told him about it, and now my father said he would rather give up the money and the business than have his daughter hurt again. Trisha went to the police, showed her beaten body, and filed a report on Dan. Trisha's father lost some of the money, but most of it remained, and I suddenly came up with a business plan. The cafe where I worked needed a rebranding, and I knew how to do it. And I offered Trisha's father to buy out the unprofitable establishment. So they did, and I took charge of the case. It made me a lot of money. Plus, it allowed me to see Trisha often. We started working there together. She became the administrator, and I became the director. This way, I got more than her, and I no longer had to be ashamed, because I earned honestly. Our relationship gradually began again, and I was so happy. After all, our feelings had remained. Do you think this is true love? And how did you meet your soulmate? And what are you willing to do for her? Write your opinion and other answers in the comments below. I would love to hear and read about your opinions.
Hello everyone, I'm Glenn. Probably many of you know the game Among Us. So I played a little bit and stuck a little bit to the point that I wanted to play it in life. You know, how strange it was in general and how scared my relatives and friends were. I slowly and surely confused reality, so I almost lost myself. If you don't know about this game yet, I can tell you briefly about it. In short, this is for fans of easy and simple to play. Personally, I was lured by the game theme of space. There is an obscenely simple design, graphics, and everything so clear and beautiful. This game has its own spaceship with astronauts, among which there are also evil characters, fake. So there is a struggle between good and evil, in which everyone wants to win. Enemies are not so easy to identify, you just need to be careful. At the same time, you need to perform light tasks. They served as an anti-stress type for me. It really relaxed me, especially after a hard day of school. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the game is purely online, and people there can play strangers. So figs, guess who is who? Well, if you look closely, only then. So once I tried to play a game, and at the same time participate in a challenge. There you had to play without lights. It was quite difficult and exciting. As soon as we started playing, we found a dead body. This led to such a dead end. How now to guess where the maniac is? In parallel, I was completing tasks, and my brain was exploding, and I thought, who can be an imposter? Like many of my team, we made the decision not to expel anyone. I wandered towards the reactor, and I kept thinking that I was going to be killed. But for a while I lived like this. You know, playing in the dark is really creepy. I offered my options about who might be an imposter, but there was little support for me. I, by the way, was also nominated, but in the end we chose a person, and everyone voted for him, and he turned out to be an ordinary astronaut. In short, the game was hot. I did not understand how much time I sit on the internet and think and think. That day was the night I was playing. I have to go to school in the morning, and I'm so stuck that I barely slept. In short, I passed out somewhere in the morning. Maybe it was already 5 hours. Just so you know, I should be up by 6:30. In general, I was like a zombie, quickly dressed, washed, and went to school. I spent some time in class. I don't remember exactly how I wrote down the tasks. I came home and promised myself to go to bed early and got stuck in the game again. Here we are again with the guys in the same team. I am an ordinary astronaut, looking for a maniac, but I do not find it. We lost 10 times in a row. It was starting to make me angry. Unbeknownst to me, when the battery on my phone had already run out, I saw that it was dawn outside the window. Damn it, morning again. I was angry and tired, but there was nothing I could do. So I changed my clothes, washed, ate, and went to school. On the second day without sleep, my eyes turned red like my spacesuit in the game. I didn't really understand what was happening and did some things on the machine. For example, opening a notebook. I fell asleep at recess, in class, at lunch. My friends would wake me up, but I couldn't wake up. As soon as I got home, I was stuck in the game again. Gradually, reality and the game got mixed up in my head, and I began to look at my friends through the prism of the game. You'll find it funny at first, until I'm not peekaboo at all. Well, listen to what happened next. I remember opening my eyes when I was sitting at my desk. Math class was in progress. The teacher called me to the blackboard. I went out, solved the problems as in a game, sat down and stared at the children. I even began to suspect the teacher. It seemed to me that she might be a maniac. It's not something that she said something about my academic performance. I think she just wanted to extinguish me, set me up so that everyone would think that I was a maniac. But no, this is not going to happen. I got up from my seat, went to her, and told the class that she was an imposter. Vote, I shouted. The guys looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't understand why they were all silent. I started calling everyone by their first names, and then Scarlett was like, "Are you alright?" And then I realized that she was in on it. I told the guys that now, if they all boil, in a second we will have 2 more corpses. But the teacher suddenly got up and started yelling at me. Like, what am I talking about? What other 2 corpses? She took me by the hand and led me to the staff room to meet with the principal. I resisted as much as I could. On the way, I shouted that she was a maniac and that now the guys would quickly defeat her. She was literally dragging me down the hall, and I was yelling that someone was going to die. I was locked in an office. I tried to get to the reactor there, shouted to be given tasks. I am ready to complete them. I don't know how long it's been since I was locked up, but I'm sweating, tired, and hungry. Then the door opened and I was ready, and my mother came in. I asked, "Do you play too?" My mother did not answer me. She only began to cry violently, and her tears seemed to awaken me. I suddenly woke up, looked around, and realized that I was at school. I saw that I was surrounded by teachers, the principal, and my mother was standing next to me, crying. Then the nurse came running, and I felt so tired. I wanted to sit down. I sat down on the floor and told my mother that I wanted to go home and eat and sleep. They took me to the hospital and checked me out. The psychologist said that I just played too much and asked my parents to control my playing time more. I came to my senses only a day later. I slept stupidly in the hospital. I slept off. I was watched. I had a great depleted body during these days, and I could even die. And not in the game, but for real. In short, guys, what I want to say, games, such a thing, very easily can master you and then do not let go for a long time. So if you are still gamers, then at least eat and sleep. Otherwise, everything will end up like mine. Also, don't forget to tell me in the comments what are your favorite games and how many hours in a row you played it. Write your opinion about my story, share it with your friends, do not spare likes, and subscribe to the channel.